All right, dude from India. All right, more Italian game. See if he plays the same exact gambit. Nope, he's playing Philidor, which is all good. All good. We'll push here. Okay, so that's actually not the best move because what I can do is sacrifice the knight. And that looks like a huge blunder. Oh no, my queen. What if he takes the queen, he loses the game. So, appreciate it. All right, threatening checkmate in 1. He recaptures here, we pick up the knight this way. So yeah, this is a little trap in the Philidor defense. So definitely know this one. All right, got our material back, and with the knight sacrifice, we went up a pawn. Not too bad out of the opening. I will say this is oftentimes where I screw up, so let's not do that. We'll start with, what should we do here? Simply defending our strong center. Yeah, let's do that. I can do this, pin the queen to the king. He can push. He's not careful, he loses that pawn. No. Let's play it safe. Follow opening principles. Need to see that again. Teach that one, yeah, for sure. It's a checkmate by sacrificing the queen. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it's such a satisfying one. Yeah, we'll go over it again. Okay. Put some pressure on this knight here. What's he got? Can do this. Having route material you can trade. Takes knight, I recapture the knight. Actually, no, I think that's too risky. I think the best move is to play this first. Maybe this one. Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, this, now I attack the bishop, threatening to ruin the pawn structure and threatening to win a pawn. I don't want to capture with the knight because then I can get my knight pinned. That would not be good. So I'd probably capture with the queen, potentially even look for a queen trade. Okay, yeah, that was pretty good. But now I win a pawn, right? Yeah. And I threaten the rook at the end of the line. Rook comes over. Threaten the bishop again. If he takes, I win the bishop. He's got to defend somehow. Okay, good, good, good. Let's, I'm gonna go this way. Now we're up 2 pawns. Love to see it. Love to see it. Actually, I don't need to move the knight at all. So let's not. Let's just, I don't want to open that up just yet. Yeah, he's looking to come in. Let's just build up on the light squares, I think. Spicy opening, simple mid-game tactics. Yeah, honestly, that's the plan. Nothing too fancy, you know? All right, so he's attacking a pawn, but it doesn't even do anything because I just... Wait a second. Okay, this bishop just left the f8 square. On the f8 square, it was defending the e7 square, like this. By vacating this square, he's no longer defending e7, which means that this square is now free for my knight to jump in. That comes with the fork where I win a rook. Thank you for the rook. Now we support even more, and the bishop can no longer touch any of my pawns except that one. Yeah, that's a nice little saddle for that bishop, but I move my king out of the way. Now my pawn is no longer pinned. Oh, he wants to trade? Yeah, I'm happy to trade. That's a terrible move for him because now he has 3 isolated pawns. I do this. Now my rooks are free to come up wherever. Take that file, thank you. Didn't see it's fired 1200. I miss tactics all the time. I hate to admit it, actually. That's why I do puzzles, to be totally honest. That is precisely why I do puzzles. Okay, do not want to blunder, so I'm going to stay on the light squares for the time being. This actually attacks a pawn. All right, now I'm going to go... shoot, don't want to get the rook trapped. Maybe I can swindle him here. Oh, this is okay. Yeah. Wait. There we go. Connect 4. I win. Wow. Okay. Great. Well, that means now I can do this. Maybe we push over here. This rook is never getting in. Not without sacrificing. Okay, you shut that down, that's fine. Let's go this way. Yeah. This rook is just going to be a thorn in his side. His king is in a cage. Okay, not sure what he's planning there. But now I can do this. Yeah. If he comes down, then I can take here. Alright, good. Threatening this. Wants to trade. Happy with that. And thus we've created a passed pawn. A passed pawn is a pawn that cannot be captured or blocked by any enemy pawns. We're going to put the king back in the box. And we're just going to push. And we're just going to march into the enemy position. Too many pawns, he can't stop them all. And he didn't come forward in time. So, matter of fact, I can even sacrifice once the king steps away. Let's go up. Appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate the vote of confidence. Yeah, I'm waiting for the resignation. Take the bishop. I will. I sure will at some point. Hello. Okay, there it is. Resignation. That was a clean game. Oftentimes when I play faster time controls, I play like total crap. But this one was a little bit better. So, okay. Probably excited, more time to think. Wow, look at this. 90% accuracy. Love to see it. Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Mr. Brilliant. All right, we'll take a look. I probably did. Computer says I got a brilliant out of the opening. That's okay. I don't always consider those brilliants because, I mean, you study them. But when you find a brilliant tactic later in the game, that's really satisfying. But this was on move 6. All right. Philidor. So the key thing is to kick this bishop. Bishop comes, steps away, and you'll notice the double question mark because the knight says, thank you for the pawn. And as a player, you go, oh no, my queen, right? Because if black takes your queen, it's automatic game over. Why? They just lost a queen. Because 1, king has only 1 square, and 2 is mate. Look at that. Knight defends the bishop. Knight defends this square. Bishop defends these 2 squares. And this knight defends these 2 squares. So, boom, that's mate. It's called the Legal mate. Definitely. Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate the follow. Yes, and when black plays a Philidor defense. And the key thing is to kick the bishop first. Right? When the bishop comes out to pin your knight, if the bishop is still here, you can't sacrifice the knight because they'll just take your queen I forget exactly. I'd have to look at the position again. But yeah, when the bishop is out here and then they take your queen, then you're free to play. So, okay. All right, back to the game. He said, I'm not going to take the bait. Instead, he captured the knight, which is the best move because you're sacrificing 3 points of material for a pawn. Well, you better take those 3 points. I recapture this bishop. It doesn't quite renew the threat of mate in 1 because the knight is defending. Best move is to capture the bishop there, go up in material, but then you just check and fork the king and the knight, and you get it right back. All right, so there it wants me to strike at the center, which I just wanted to support the central pawn, open up my dark squared bishop, castle. Yeah, there I was thinking about moving the queen over, but I was like, best to castle, follow opening principles first. All right, then he castles, and this actually would no longer pin the queen to the king because the king is no longer there. So he has no obligation to take. He could just move his queen out of the way. Wouldn't even really be obliged to take if he's pinned, but it limits the mobility of the queen. Here I pin the knight. He moves the rook over. I slide my rook over. Why? Because I'm looking at this square. When I take, this is looking at this square. And then when I want to come in to attack the bishop and this pawn, the bishop can now see this pawn. So I prophylactically move my rook over to b1. He plays this random pawn move, doesn't really do much. So I capture and immediately attack that bishop. He drops back. Computer likes the advancement of the bishop. I was like, okay, well, that's a pawn. He trades queens. Computer says it's the best. Makes sense, although when you're down material, it's not great to trade. But the reason that's the best is because let's say he doesn't, this bishop is double attacked. So he'd be good trading down even more material. Let's say a queen went here, then I'm trading even more, right? With knight or bishop takes. So okay, queen captures, knight recaptures, attacking the rook. He comes over, let's come right back. That is the knight's favorite square, because the knight cannot be kicked by any opposing pawns or by the opponent's bishop. So if the knight's ever going to leave, it's either by choice or by sacrifice. So, all right, bishop drops back. It's a solid square. Computer likes it coming forward, being more active. More active square, that's okay. I start defending the center, my pawn structure, because that pawn is under attack. He pushes, and I just start building up these pawns. He attacks this pawn again, but it opened up that fork. Computer is okay with the move, but it does force him to go down even more in material. Boom, now I'm up 4 points of material. Great. Here I move this next pawn forward, and now my only pieces on dark squares are this pawn and my king. So this bishop is almost completely useless, except for limiting the mobility of my rooks. So okay, he comes in and pin that pawn. Fine, I slide out of the way. He's looking to trade. I'm happy to trade on him up material. Pawn comes up, rook comes over, immediately challenge him for the file. Hello, welcome to the stream. He says no, so I say, okay, I'm hopping into the position. Bishop attempts to lock my rook in jail. Smart move. Smart move. It's also defending the pawn. Here I can play this because if he takes, right, I capture the pawn and I threaten the bishop. So then his bishop's got to move, and then my rook is free to retreat or find a better square. Instead, he comes forward with the king, but that allows my pawn to sneak through the line of sight of this bishop. And now my rook is solidified here, and it's happy because it can't be kicked by any enemy pawns. And if he trades, he's just down so much material. May as well. The rook is in jail, exactly. May as well resign. Okay, so he starts advancing. I start advancing over here. He shuts that down. I'm like, fine. Let's just march the king. Now his rook left the queen side, so I'm able to trade, open things up. One more move, I can create a passer. But he looks to trade. I'm like, all right, great. I'll trade. And now I have my passer. A pawn. Starts marching the king. I push. Push and P, as Hikaru says. Pushing pawns. King comes over, and the rook just locks the king out. King cannot advance past the rook's line of sight. And the rook can't be dislodged because he's got a dark squared bishop. And this is why rooks are stronger than bishops. I push again. He blocks. I start marching the king. Marching, marching, marching. And then here he resigns. There's no way to defend all of these and stop this. So, good game. Exactly. Simplify. When you're up material, you can trade. Reason being, let's say you have both queens are on the board, each side is both rooks, and say one minor piece, but one side is down a pawn, right? So then you're at 19, 22 plus, let's say, 5 and 4 pawns, so 26 and 27 points of material. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. But as soon as you start trading down material, right, if you're down to 8 points of material versus 9 points of material, that one missing pawn is feels like a little bit more than just a simple slight difference in material. And then of course when you're down to 2 pawns versus 1 pawn, it's just like you have double the material. So all right, so you're looking at the rook sack. You're talking about right here. So let's see. If I take, all right, computer doesn't appreciate it as brilliant. But like, you're right, the king can't even stop the pawn, so may as well run the other way. Computer says it should run the other way. So yeah, that's totally a viable option in this position here. Could have sacrificed. I wanted to do it a little bit more cleanly. Had 4 minutes of the clock, so I could have, hey, appreciate the follow. Could have calculated that out, but I knew these pawns weren't going anywhere. This pawn wasn't going anywhere, so I had time to march the king. So, and yeah, the computer actually wants you to take there, so good call.